All right, so in the world of My Singing Monsters, most creatures, right, they've got one official story. Simple. But today, we're talking about a monster that actually has two stories, and that's the powerful and mysterious Enchantling.
So that's the official bio, and wow, it sets a pretty epic stage, doesn't it? I mean, it's straight up connecting this monster to the titan of magical sanctum, Enchantler. We're talking about a pretty grand destiny for a monster right out of the gate.
But here's the twist, because long before this official monster ever sang its first note in the actual game, a totally different version of Enchantling was already out there, one that was born from the imagination of the fan community itself.
So that's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're diving deep into the two lives of the Enchantling. We've got the fan-made concept on one side and the official in-game creature on the other. It's just a fascinating look at how fan creativity and developer design can end up telling two completely different but equally cool stories about the same monster.
Okay, so let's start with the fan creation. This is where the story of Enchantling really begins. We're not talking about a developer studio here. This all started in the collective creative minds of the game's community.
Now, to really get the fan version, you got to know about something called FITMBD. It stands for Fan-Made Islands That Must Be Done, and it's basically this whole section on the My Singing Monsters Ideas wiki just for fan-made content. Think of it like a creative playground, totally separate from the official game. And look, the fan community didn't just doodle a monster and call it a day. No way! They built a whole set of rules for it. They came up with two different versions. There was a normal one you'd buy with relics once you hit level 20, and then a crazy version that was breedable way earlier, at level 9, and lived on these completely fan-made islands. Super detailed stuff.
All right, so now let's switch gears and talk about the Enchantling that every player knows today. This is the official one, the monster that actually made its way from concept art right into the game's code. The official Enchantling, it dropped on July 21st, 2021, and it has one and only one home, Magical Sanctum. But here's the really big deal. It was the very first quad-element monster to have absolutely zero natural elements. That was a huge milestone for the game, a real game changer.
And its sound? Oh man, it's totally unforgettable. You know that booming, low-pitched hoo-ya-hi-yo? That's voiced by Dan Rickard. It's this powerful chant that just gives Magical Sanctum this incredible, heavy, epic feel.
Okay, so now we've got our two Enchantlings, right? One born from pure fan passion and the other from official developer design. Let's put them side by side and really see how the fan dream stacks up against the in-game reality.
And wow, you can really see the different paths they took. The fan concept was all about the gameplay mechanics, you know, how to get it, where it lives, but the lore was just TBA. The official version, though, it's the complete opposite. It's deeply woven into the lore of the island's titan, Enchantler, and it exists as this single definitive monster that you can only get by breeding.
And speaking of breeding, let's get practical for a minute. For all you players out there, this next part is for you. This is your roadmap to getting this awesome monster onto your island.
So yeah, the big question, how do you actually get one? I mean, it's a quad-element monster on Magical Sanctum, so it's not exactly going to be a walk in the park. But don't worry, we've got the combos you need right here.
So you can breed an Enchantling with any combo that gives you those four elements: Light, Psychic, Fairy, and Bone. But listen up, here's the pro tip. The best combo is Larvalus and Florus. Why? Because if the breeding fails, and it might, their wait time is the shortest, which means you can get back to trying again way faster. But you gotta be prepared for a wait. A successful breed takes 2 days and 2 hours. That is a huge time investment. In fact, it's the 5th longest breeding time for any common monster in the entire game. It really just goes to show you how special this creature is meant to be.
And hey, once you finally got your Enchantling, you're going to want to make it happy, right? Because that maximizes its shard production. All you got to do is place a Roric, a Dragon Tower, a Mountain Morsel, or an Ambered thing nearby. Each one of those will give it a nice 25% happiness boost.
So beyond its super unique origin story and the fact that it's a real challenge to breed, what else makes the Enchantling stand out? Well, its release actually left a permanent mark on the game in some really surprising ways.
I mean, check this out. Enchantling's release was just full of firsts and lasts. It was the last magical monster to be released, but it was also the first quad-element monster with no natural elements, and the first to produce shards. Get this. Its arrival on the island is what caused the Titan Enchantler to literally open its eyes. And in a super cool twist, some of its early concept art was actually reused later on to help create Whale and Bleatnik. You know, the story of Enchantling is just so rare. It's a genuine case of parallel creation, right? You have the fan community and the developers both imagining a monster with the very same name, but they end up on these completely different journeys. It really makes you wonder, how often does a fan's dream and a developer's design end up telling two such beautifully different stories about the same thing?